Yeah, good afternoon everyone. So on this day, in this class, we are going to study or continue the pointers concept. So in the last class, we have seen basics of pointers, types of pointers, while pointer, null pointer, etc. In the next unit, we are going to see the dangling pointer in memory management because we need to allocate the memory for a variable. Then a pointer is going to point to that memory, which is created by dynamic memory allocation. Then that memory will be destroyed. Then such pointer is called as a dangling pointer. Means what is, just I'll give you a brief description. We are going to create dynamic memory. Dynamic memory is created on the heap. For example, we are having a heap memory. On this memory, we are going to create the variable. Say this is a variable. Okay, using malloc, calloc, realloc, three functions are there, which you can see here. In the next unit, we are having here malloc, calloc, realloc. So using these functions, we are going to allocate the memory. So please share everyday class link in WhatsApp group. Yeah, I have to upload. Once I upload it, I'll share all the links from the beginning. Okay. Most of the students are asking, but I'll do that today. Okay, most probably, inshallah. Now, let us come back to the class. So we'll be having a RAM. We are also having heap memory, two different memories. In RAM, we are having data memory and heap memory. Inside the data memory, whatever the variables you create are going to get created. If you want to create the memory of dynamic size, means integer is going to carry only 4 bytes of memory. I want to allocate 5 bytes. Then we are going to go with this concept of memory management that we are going to see in the next or for the next class. So now this dangling pointer is a pointer which is going to point to this particular memory location. Means we are going to create a pointer. Say this is a pointer. Just a second. Say this is a pointer, and this pointer is going to point to this particular memory location which is created on the heap memory. Heap memory means dynamic memory allocation. Okay, for some of you it may be going beyond your imagination. Don't worry, this concept we will be seeing in the next class. Now, if a pointer is pointing to a memory location that is created by dynamic memory allocation through malloc, calloc, or realloc, the memory that is allocated through malloc, calloc, or realloc is called as a dynamic memory. Now, if this dynamic memory that is created is destroyed, then the leftover pointer is called as dangling pointer. Now, such type of pointer is called as dangling pointer. Now, this concept we will be studying in our next unit. So, the rest of the unit we are going to cover today. And if possible, we are going to see programs. And in the next lab also, we are going to work on the programs related to pointers. So now let us start with the concept called as a void pointer. I hope you have done the first assignment that is given in our previous class. Let us do that one as of now. Just a second. Let me open dev environment. I'm sharing the screen for you. Can you see the dev screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for responding. Participants. Logged in, sir, joined, post. Yes. That's it. That's it. All our star guests. Oh, nothing to worry. So the concept is pointers to pointers to. So let us change the documentation. The documentation deals with pointers. So let us remove these arguments. You don't need them. Actual parameters, they're also called as. So now let us create variables of type integer, integer a comma b, then float c comma d, character e comma f. Now let us ask printf slash n enter characters. What we are going to do is we are going to accept the values using pointers, and we are going to print the values using pointers, nothing more than that. So printf enter 2 characters, then enter 2 integers, integer values, then enter 2 floating point values. So in order to accept, we need to write scanf. Before that, let us declare 2 more variables called as pointers. So let us create star PA, pointer to A, star pointer to B. Coming to here, comma, star pointer to C, star pointer to D, comma, star pointer to E, star pointer to F. So we are creating pointers for all different types of variables. So here let us accept the values. So in order to accept, we need to assign the addresses first. So PA is equal to address of A. Am I right here? As per our yesterday's class, this is how we are going to assign the address. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. Great. Next, PB is equal to ampersand B. Then PC is equal to ampersand C. PD is equal to ampersand D. So then PE is equal to ampersand E. EF is equal to ampersand EF. This is how we are going to assign the addresses. So these 3 lines are going to represent the addresses. Then let us add scanf. So as per yesterday's class, percentage D, percentage, we are accepting characters, percentage C, comma. If you are accepting values, then you are going to be variables, then you are going to say percentage E, comma, ampersand F. If you are using pointers, you should not use ampersand because the pointer itself holds the address. So you're going to write P, comma, PF. This is how you're going to accept. So scanf for all the others, integer values. So we are accepting 2 integers means PA, PB. Then float means PC, PD. So this is how you are going to accept the numbers. Then let us print the numbers back. So printf 2 characters is equal to percentage D, comma, percentage D. Then let's copy this stuff. No, this is C, right? Not D. D. Integer values, percentage D, floating point values, percentage F. Then let us change the code, comma. So now whether we are going to get the values or addresses. What is that you can expect now? Is it a value or an address? What will be printed? So PE means the address that is holded. The value means you need to use an asterisk symbol, dereference operator. As per our class, this asterisk means value at address. So you need to use stars for printing value at address. So this is how you're going to print the value. This was the first assignment given in our yesterday's class. Hope you have done the same. So you might be asking, sir, what is the size of an integer pointer? What is the size of a character pointer, float pointer? So in order to see the pointer size, let us elaborate this program. So using pointers, accepting and printing values of different types. Let us stick to this program only. Let us not print the sizes as of now. So let us execute this program. Execute, compile and run. Main, save, yes. Enter how many values? What is this? Enter 2 characters, right? Execute, compile and run. Why we are getting enter how many values? 2 values. 1, 2. What is happening? While
Sir, you're not able to reply.
yeah. Control yes. File. Execute, compile and run. Enter how many values? 2 values. 1, 2. Is showing the output of some other program. Okay, let me copy this program.
That's yesterday's problem, sir.
Yeah, that's what. File.
Yesterday
New.
you not replaced it, sir.
Yeah, project 2, yes. Say project 1, yes. Yes. Control A, Control V. Execute, compile and run. Main, save, yes. Let's hope it must work fine. Yeah, now we are getting. I hope you can see the output screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we are giving A and B. A space B. Wow, it lost. Let us.
You give percentage C for all, sir, for integer and floating also.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Percentage D, percentage F. Good identification. So execute, compile and run. I hope it must fix now. A space B. Okay. Enter 2 characters. Scanf percentage C. Okay, understood. So let us accept individual scanfs because it is bypassing. Because we are giving a space, it is considering something else. So a flush stdin. We are clearing the buffer because we are going to give a space. That space has to be removed and next value has to be accepted. So first we are accepting P, next we are accepting PF. So one is P, another one is PF. Then the next values will be accepted. So execute, compile and run. A, B, 2 integer values. I don't know what is happening. 20 floating points, 10.5, 60.23. So we got 2 characters, A, B, correctly enter 2 integer values, 10, 20, enter 2 floating points, we got. Okay. So this program is working fine for the values using pointers. Is there any doubt in the program? Okay. Copy. Maybe everyone has executed yesterday. That's why nobody is having a doubt. So this is the first program. Now, second program, what we are going to do is we are going to print the size of the pointer variables, how much memory is being allocated. Shall we do, or you are going to do this? You can do that because we can use a single variable, single method called as operator called as size of. Okay. So the first homework or first breakout room assignment is just a second. So first one, print the size of integer pointer sizes of all pointers, all types of pointers. So this is the first program for today. Print the sizes of all types of pointers. How many bytes integer pointer is going to allocate, how many bytes character pointer is going to allocate, etc. Okay, I hope you can do this one. So let us get back to the class. So what is the concept of today's class is we want to make use of void pointers. So the next program is, so these are the different types of pointers we have as of now: integer pointer, float pointer, and character pointer. Now we are going to introduce a new pointer called as a float pointer. Using float pointer, we are supposed to print the value of an integer, the value of a float, the value of a character. How to do that, we are going to see now. So we need to modify the program. We don't want these many number of variables. We need only one value. Only one value. So float B, character C, and we don't want to assign the addresses. And here, these are the three variables. Let us change the name of the program. So void pointer. Name of the program is void pointer. So let us create a pointer. Void pointer is a pointer which can hold the address of any other type. So what is a void pointer? Is a pointer variable which can hold the address of any other type. Generally, an integer pointer is going to hold the address of only integer variables. As per theory, if you try to point it to a float, it will work. Okay, you can try that. But as per theory is concerned, an integer pointer is a pointer that holds the address of integer variable. Character pointer is a pointer which holds the address of only character variables. And a float pointer is a pointer which holds the address of only that type of variable. So the only operator that we have, or only the pointer that we have which can accommodate any type, is void. Because void pointer doesn't have any memory allocation, it simply points. So we are going to see that now. So how to declare a void pointer? Simply write void star p, that's it. So this is how. Let us remove all the stuff we don't need. Enter a integer value. So let us read as a normal variable. Let us print it as using a pointer. Okay. So enter a character first. So %C, %C. So first of all, let us create a void pointer. Then let us accept all the values. Then let us print back those values using the pointer. That is what I'm thinking of. Enter a integer value, %D, %A. Then enter a floating point value. Just a second. Aisha. So enter a floating point value. So that is %F, ampersand, okay, ampersand B. So this is how we are going to accept normal variables. There is nothing new in this. So first we are accepting a character, then we are accepting an integer, then we are accepting a floating point value. Now we have to print these values. So as a normal process, what we are going to do is we are going to write P is equal to address of A. Now, if you print the character entered, character is equal to %C, %P. Whether it is going to print now, as per our previous class is concerned, it has to print. But a void pointer is a pointer which has no type. So here we are going to get an error. Let us see whether we are going to get an error or the output. Compile and run.
Yeah. Sir, double.
Yeah. Yes, somebody said something. So here we are going to get an error. Now what is that error? Yes, let me compile again. Now, declaration of void star pointer. So here it is saying that we are declaring a void pointer because P is assigned to address of A. A is the character address of C, though it is percentage is pointing to the memory location called as C, still it is going to have an error. Why? Because we are using void pointer. Now void pointer doesn't have any type. So what we need to do is we need to typecast. Yes, we need to do typecasting. How to do typecasting? Just keep a parenthesis, then write integer star. Integer star. No, this is a character variable, so write character star. Because now we are printing it as a character, that is P. P is assigned to address of C. So you need to typecast using character star. Now execute it, you are going to get the output. Enter a character A, 1, 2.5. So we got entered character is equal to A. So because we printed only for characters, we are going to get that output. So now let us print for integer and float. So character is percentage C, integer, then float. Now, before printing everything, you need to assign the addresses. So again, assign the address. So now it is pointing to A, now it is pointing to B. So here pointer is pointing to C, it is printing the C value. Then pointer is pointing to the memory location called as A, it is printing the A value. Then it is pointing to B and it is printing B value. So in order to print, change here to integer, here change it to F. Somebody is having a doubt. Sir, why did you use F-flush stdin in your previous program? Yeah. Why we are using F-flush? Because whenever we accept two characters, after entering a character, you are going to give a space. Now the C compiler is going to treat the space as the second input and it stops execution. In order to clear that buffer, or you are going to enter a character, then you are going to press a enter key. Now that enter key is also going to have a ASCII value and it is going to store that ASCII value into B. Okay. So in order to avoid that, we have written in our previous program stdin, that is F-flush in brackets stdin. What is stdin? Standard input device. What is that device? Our keyboard. Keyboard will have a buffer. Now that buffer need to be flushed. F-flush stdin. I hope you understood. So here we are accepting a single character and that to first we are not using std. That is what? stdin, F-flush stdin. So if you want to accept first integer, then float, then character, you need to use that function. I'll show that. Just a second. Let us execute this program first. Then we'll accept the character at the last. So here a character is A, 120, 250.250. So we got entered character is A, entered integer is 120, entered float is, why, what's the problem? Float. See here we are having characters. Yeah. So this one is float. Yeah, typecasting has done wrong, so that's why. Now, before executing this, let us accept the character at the last. As one of our friend asked, so let us help the programs in such a way. So let us print. Now see here, what we are doing here is we are printing, or we are accepting the character after accepting the float value. Float value you are going to enter, then you are going to press enter. Now it is not going to accept the character. So we are going to print in the same order, p is equal to ampersand c, then print that particular. So execute, compile and run. Just a second. Yeah, enter integer value. So I'm giving 10, enter a floating point value 20.5. Now when you press enter, it is not going to accept character. It considers the ASCII value of enter to be the next input, and it treats that enter ASCII value as the third input. Now I pressed enter, it missed, enter a character value. So we got 10, we got 20.5, then we are not getting the character. So this character, that is ASCII value, which is taken for the enter, has to be removed. So for that sake, what you are going to do, after accepting the float and before accepting the character, write this line called as fflush in brackets stdin. So clear the buffer of standard input device, that is keyboard. Clear the buffer of standard input device, that is called as keyboard. Compile and run. So now it is going to accept 10, 20.50. Now it is asking, waiting for us to enter a character. So let us, now you can see that entered num integer is 10, 20.5, and yes. So all the values are being accepted and printed. So this is how you are going to use the void pointer. Is there any doubt in the program? So the point here is you have to declare a void pointer. Void pointer doesn't have any memory being allocated. Next point, whenever you assign a variable to a pointer, the address to a pointer of type void, you need to do typecasting. In brackets, you need to write the type. So any doubts here?
No doubt, sir.
Good. So this is how we are going to, let us get back to next. So we have finished for void pointer. Can you see the screen, Word document?
Yes, sir.
Syllabus. Let us go by syllabus. Then we are having pointer to a pointer. The next concept is pointer to a pointer. So what is this pointer to a pointer? It is something like a nested pointer. May resemble like that, but I am going to explain what is this. Now, suppose we are having a memory location. Say the name of the memory location is n. It is having some value, say 10. It is having some address, say 100 or 1000. So we are having a memory location called as n. It is having a value 10 in it, and the address is 1000. Now, similarly, we are having a pointer. Okay, we are having a pointer. The name of this pointer is star p, and it has the value called as 1000. Then only it can point, and it also has an address, say 2000. So what do you mean by this? Already we have written some code, something like this. That is, we have written a code called as p is equal to ampersand n. Then only we will be having this address. Is that right? P is equal to ampersand n. This is what we have. We think that we have written the code. So this particular code is going to give a connection between these two memory locations. Now the pointer is capable of pointing. Now the pointer is capable of pointing to this address. So this is what we have seen so far. This is what we have seen so far. Now the next concept is pointer to a pointer. Now I need to create another pointer which points P. So what we need to do, we need to create one more memory location. Just a second. We need to create one more memory location, and now this memory location must point to this address. So this is somewhat called as indirect pointing. Indirect pointing. So what must be the name? The name must be something like this. Now, because we have a single star dereference operator here, we need to have 2 stars, say Q. Now, Q has 2 asterisk symbols, then it can hold the address of 1 asterisk symbol variable. So this is called as level of dereferencing. Level of dereferencing. Just a second. So it is called as level of dereferencing. Level of dereferencing. What exactly is happening here? We have written p is equal to address of n. Then we got a link between these two. Now, how to get the link Q? Can anyone guess? So you might be writing something like this. Q is equal to address of P. Q is equal to address of P. Now, if you write this line of code, then this Q is equal to address of P is going to create this link between these two. Now, what this particular value memory location will hold, the memory location that is holded by this particular value is 2000, and it may also have an address. Now, this address may be around 3000, for example. So how to print this value, how to print n value using P, you can write directly star P. In order to print n value using P, you are going to write something like this, star P. Print n value using Q. Print n value using Q. How you are going to write? You are going to write star Q. This is called as level of dereferencing, and the number of stars are not limited. You can have n number of stars. Okay. So let us see the example first. Is there any doubt here? Just take a snapshot for better understanding. Pointer to a pointer. The topic is pointer to a pointer. Pointer to pointer or pointer to a pointer. It's up to you. Just take a snapshot, everyone. Now, let us see one program being associated with this one. So let us get back to dev environment. What happened to dev? Pointer to a pointer. So we are having a memory location called as n. Then let us remove all this code. We don't need this code. For better understanding, I am directly assigning n is equal to 10. We are not asking enter a value, printf, scanf, etc. So what we are going to do here is directly we are assigning the n value. Then let us create the pointer integer star p. Then let us create one more pointer called as integer star q. So here we are having 2 indices, that is 2 stars, that is called as level of dereferencing, pointer to a pointer. If we are writing something like this, integer star r, what is this called as? Anybody? This is pointer variable. This is pointer to a pointer variable. What is this called as? Anybody can guess? This is called as a pointer. This is called as a pointer to a pointer. This is called as pointer to a pointer to a pointer. Twice. Okay. So now let us quickly write this value. Printf. Somebody sent a message. Nested pointer, no, not nested pointer. It is called as pointer to a pointer to a pointer. Okay. No nested concept in pointers. Thank you for reminding. Okay, so I want to print the n value. So you may be writing something like this, /n, n is equal to %d, n. So this is how you are going to print the n value directly. Then let us print the n value using pointer p. So everyone knows that we are going to write p is equal to address of n. Simply, this is how you are going to assign the address to the pointer. So in order to print the p value using star p, so you're going to write star p is equal to percentage d comma star p. Now I want to know the address of n. So you're going to write here after this line printf address of n. This is called as value of n. Now here address of n means you're going to write here ampersand. As per our previous class is concerned, we are going to use percentage p for seeing a 16-bit address of a memory location. So this is called as value of star p. Then we'll be having one more. I want to print what is the value in p. So value of p, here we are going to use a percentage p because it is address, we know that, so we are going to write p. Then we want to print the address. So you can write three things. Address of p. So here you are going to write ampersand p. So this is how you are going to print for p. Then let us assign q. Let us remove this r. This is just what I have taken as an example. So next one is q is equal to address of p. That is what we have seen here. Q is equal to address of p. This one is p is equal to ampersand n, means here we have seen p is equal to ampersand n, and this p is equal to, yeah, this is a mistake, right? This is q is equal to ampersand p, then a semicolon. So q is equal to ampersand p means a line or a pointer is pointing to p, p is pointing to n. Okay, so now let us write this, copy this code and associated code let us write. So printf star star q. So that is star star q. Then let us write value of star q. What star q has? It has to has an address. So let us write star q. Then let us write what a q has. So q is also being loaded with an address. So you can write only q. So we got a chat. What is mean by percentage p? You are absent for yesterday's class, Varshit. Percentage p is going to print the address into a 16-bit hexadecimal number. In the last class, we have seen this. If you are having a doubt today, I'll be sharing the video of yesterday's class and previous classes. You just go through it, okay? Otherwise, just wait for a couple of minutes. I execute it, you'll understand. Then let us write the address of p. So just let me copy this one. So this one is not address, value of q. So this is address of q. So here you are going to write ampersand q. So let me clear all the drawings. I hope this is the chain which is being followed. This is not Corona chain. This is the chain of pointers. Is there any doubt? Just have a look at this and ask if there is any doubt apart from percentage p. We'll see what is percentage p now. Shall I execute the program? So execute, compile and run. Already we have given n value as 10. So see here, value of n is 10, value of star p is 10, value of star star q is 10. So all the three are pointing to same memory location called as n. N is there, p is pointing to n, and the value of q is also being pointed to n. What happened? Execute, compile and run. So value of n is 10, value of star p is 10, value of star star q is also 10. So all the three are pointing, or both the two pointers are pointing to same n value. Then see the address of n. Address of n is 62FE1C. Why we are getting this much big address? because my compiler is 16-bit compiler. So we are getting 16 bits of address. This is how you are going to use star %p. A %p is going to give you 16-bit address of the memory location if the compiler which we are using is a 16-bit compiler. So what n is having? The address of n. This is the address of n. See here, we are having same address of n in P. And we also have the same address in star Q. All the three are holding the same addresses. Then P is having an address FE10. The same is available in address value of Q, and this one is address of Q. If you execute the program again, maybe you may get different addresses. Okay. So let me copy the program for you. See the program. If there is any doubt, you can ask. Let me copy the output also. So in order to understand this, what you have to do is you have to draw boxes, keep the addresses, then you'll understand. Is there any doubt? Pointer to a pointer. If there is no doubt, let us move to the next one. Okay. So as nobody is having a doubt, I consider that everyone has understood it. So let us go to the next one. So syllabus, pointer to a pointer is over. So next one is, the next one, pointer to array. Okay, so the next concept is pointer to an array. We are having a sequence of memory location. Already we have seen in our yesterday's class pointer to an array. Do you recollect that one? Pointer to array is already over in our last class. Is that right? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have shown one program for printing the elements from first to last and last to first. Then you might have executed the program for printing the sum of elements in an array. Is that right? So let us cross-check whether you have done the right answer for printing the sum of an array elements. Let us do that program. Just cross-check your programs. So printing sum of elements in an array using pointers. So how to declare an array of elements? So you're going to say n of 100. I'm considering that 100 is the maximum. Then we will be having something called as a size, how many values. Then we are having a pointer called as star p. That's it. So printf, enter how many values. So here we are going to accept scanf %d of %d comma ampersand size. Rest of the code we don't need. So we have accepted the size. Now we are having an array to be accepted. So we are going to use one more variable called as I, because we are going to use the loop to move from 0 to the size location. So for I equal to 0, I less than size I, printf /n, enter value at n of %d comma I. Scanf %d comma ampersand n of I. So this is how you are going to accept elements in an array. Now we are pointing to an array. The pointer is pointing to an array p is equal to n. This is how you are going to point to an array. Array don't have ampersand because the n means the base address of an array. The starting address of an array is called as the name of the variable. If you want to give n of 0, then you can try something like this. P is equal to address of n of 0. This is how you can represent if you don't want to write the above line. So both are acceptable. Let us keep the base address p is equal to n. Then let us calculate the sum. So in order to calculate the sum, we need one more variable called as integer sum is equal to 0. Initially, we are assigning the value of sum to 0 because we are adding. If you are multiplying, then the value will be equal to 1. So here you are writing printf entered values slash n entered values are. Then let us print the values. On the same hand, let us calculate the sum. So printf percentage d comma n of I. So this is how you are going to print the values in an array. Nothing new. This concept you might have studied in our previous semester or in our yesterday's class, whatever it is. So this is how you are going to print the values of an array. So if you want to print the values of an array using pointer, what you're going to do? Simply you're going to write here percentage d comma star p. And after printing the value, the pointer must move from the 0th index to the first index. For that, what you're going to write? P plus plus. So here, for example, we are having an array of some values. Let us say we are having 3 values. Only 3 values we are taking. Then let us have the values 10. And here we are having 20, 120, okay. 30. Now, we are having one more memory location called as the pointer. So let us name it as star p and say the address of this index element is 100, then followed by 104, then followed by 108. Now you are writing p is equal to n. So here p is equal to n means the base address is stored in the pointer. So pointer will be holding the value called as 100. Now p is pointing to the base address. Now here for I equal to 0, I less than size I plus plus means here what is happening, I value is 0, 0 is less than size because size is 3 here in this example. So it is going to print star p means value at address. This address is 100, go to the address, print the value. So it is going to print 120. So the result is 120. So we are having the result. So the result is initially 120. Now after 120, the pointer has to move from 0th location to first location. This movement has to be done. How to do this? This movement from this location to this location is performed using the next line, that is p plus plus. P plus plus here doesn't mean that it is incremented by 1. If it is a pointer, it is incremented by the size of that data type. If it is integer, then it is going to move 4 bytes, 100 to 104. If it is float, it may be moving 4 bytes or 8 bytes, depending on the size that is being allocated. If it is a character, it moves only 1 byte. Okay, so just concentrate this concept. Pointer plus plus means it is not incremented by 1, it is incremented by the type size. So this is how the pointer moves to the next location. After that, again, it moves to the next location. Okay, that is performed by p plus plus. Now before performing p plus plus, we need to add the value to some variable. So how to do that? Just sum is equal to, or sum plus is equal to, both are same, sum is equal to sum plus star p. This is how you are going to add the value to some variable. At the end, you are going to print the sum of array elements. I hope this is what you have done in our previous class. Breakout room. Sum of array elements is equal to percentile d comma sum. Then keep a semicolon. So let us execute this program and see whether this program is working fine or not. Why we got this done? So we lost a bracket here. Okay. So let us execute this program, printing sum of elements in an array using pointers. So this is the first output. Then what we got, the next output after 120 it is printing 20. Then after that it will be printing 30. So this blue color box represents the output, and this one is the array, and this is the pointer. Initially pointer will be holding value 100. Then after this it will be holding the value. What is the next value it will be holding? 104. Then after that it will be holding 108. So here we will be having one more line to be executed. Gone. So this is how it is going to execute. Let us execute and see 120, 20, and 3 values. So execute, compile and run. Yeah, what happened? We didn't keep a semicolon here. Execute, compile and run. What happened? Sum of elements.
Comma.
Yeah, thank you. Comma went inside. Good, great. Compile and run. So here, how many values? 3 values. What is the first value? 120, then 40, no, 20, and 30. As per the result that we got with respect to our class. So let us see. So entered values are 120. Oh, sum of our elements is inside the loop. So that's why it is printing every time. 20, 120, 20, 30. Now let us keep that line outside. So it must be outside the loop, not inside the loop. So execute, compile and run one more time. So 3 values, 120, 20 and 30. So we got 120, 20 and 30. Finally it is printing sum of elements is 170. So this is the program. I hope any doubt is there. If nobody is having a doubt, please take a snapshot of this program. Take a snapshot. I'm going to copy the program. So I'm going to copy the result also. Is the result gone up? Okay. So let me clear all the drawings. So this is the next concept, that is array of pointers. Then we are having pointer to strings. This is also same, nothing is there. Same single dimension array, 2-dimensional array, whatever you call. Because a 1-dimensional array of integers is almost equal to 1-dimensional array of strings. Let us see pointer to strings now. This is the time 3 o'clock, we are going to stop. So how many are there? Call by value, call by reference, that's it, right? Pointer to string, parameter, call by value, call by reference. Yeah, we can complete in half an hour, nothing wrong. Call by value, call by reference, simple one. Okay, nothing there. So printing pointer to strings, not printing pointer to strings. What is a string? A string is a sequence of characters. A string is sequence of characters. But here I'm going to show you one program. You have to do the rest of the programs. That is, as per the syllabus, we are going to see what are the string related programs are there with respect to pointers. Just let us see. Week 5. We are left over with n characters. Week 5. Week 5, yeah. Demonstrate calloc malloc not 5. Week 4. Yeah, write a C program to print the transpose of given array function. Write a C program to read the string 2 characters and then check character 1 is occurred in string. Replace it with character 2 by using string as a parameter to the function. C program to print reverse of a given one-day array element using, this one is finished yesterday, floating point number base 10. Write a C program to convert floating point number base 10 to binary number. This one will do later, not now. Find sum of all elements of an array is over. Compute sum of pointers as arguments. We'll see that, not an issue. Okay, let's get back to the concept. Pointers to a string. There is no specific program related to, only one program is there which is related to a string. That is third one. Write a C program to read a string, 2 characters, and then check if the character 1 is occurred in the string, replace it with the character 2 by using string as a parameter to a function. Okay, this one you can do as an assignment program on our breakout room. Is there any other program related to strings? That is what I'm checking. The program using functions to perform the following operations: insert a substring, main string given position, delete a character of given position in a string, write a C program to determine whether the given string is palindrome or not. So a few programs are there. I hope these things you might have done. Palindrome is over, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. So delete n characters from a given position in a string is left over, substring is left over. Okay, let us see these things later. So let us get back to the concept. So what is that one? Okay, let us see that later. Now, pointers to a string. A string is a sequence of characters. So we can say that character str of 100. Okay. So what we need to do, we need to accept the string. So you're going to write printf, enter we have entered a string. So in order to enter, we need to use getS str. So we got a string. Now what we need to do, let us print the string. Let us calculate the length using the pointers. Okay. So in order to calculate the length, you need to use integer len. Then now let us check this. We need to create one pointer variable of type character star p. Now p is going to point to the base address of str. So we are going to write p is equal to str. So both are same. Ampersand str of 0 is similar to str. So while star p not equal to /0, because p is pointing to the starting character, it will be moving till it reaches /0. /0 is the end of string. What is the /0? /0 is end of string. So while this operation is performed, what you need to do? len plus plus. Initially, what is a len value? Len value must be 0. Length is equal to 0. Here, len plus plus, then p plus plus. If you want to print the characters, or if you want to print the string, how you are going to do that? Printf entered string is, then here print character by character. So how to do that? Just write printf no %c, because we are printing character by character, then star p value at address. Here length is being incremented because I want to know the length of the string. Here p plus plus means the pointer is moving from first character to next character to next character to next, so on. It reaches /0. So after this, we are going to print the length. Printf /n length of string is %d, len. Is there any doubt in the program?
Sir, why do we need to take length? We already have a strlen function also for calculating string length.
Yeah, we can calculate string length, but what I'm doing is I'm printing the characters as well as we are also printing the length. If you don't want to print the length, just you can remove those 2 lines.
Okay.
We are doing 2 things. We are printing character by character as well as we are calculating the length. We are doing 2 things in this program. If you don't want to do that, just remove this particular line, integer len is equal to 0, remove this len plus plus, remove this printf, that's it. Instead of doing 1 thing, we are doing 2 things in the program. Any other doubt? So that's great. Let us execute the program, execute, compile and run. So enter a string sr, University, enter. So entered string is SR university we are getting, and the length is 13 characters. So entered. So this is the program. If there is any doubt, you can ask. So this is a program to pointer to a string or strings. Where is the syllabus? So this is for a pointer to a string. If we want to have this program for strings, what do you mean by strings? We are having two-dimensional array. Two-dimensional array. So enter a string, get s. So how many strings you want to accept? That we need to know. Just I'm increasing this program. The first program was for only printing for a single string. This is for more than one strings. I want to accept more than one strings. Then we want to print them back. That's it. No length concept. So here, character P. Now here, we are going to create integer size. So here we don't want this string. Let us remove all this program. Yeah, integer size. So first of all, you are going to ask how many strings you want to accept. Printf /n, enter how many strings. Scanf %d, comma, ampersand size. Then for I equal to 0, I less than size, I plus plus, because we are using I, we need to declare I, size comma I. Then it is that str of let us create a pointer. So P is going to point, P is equal to str of 0. Here we are using two-dimensional array, that's why we are writing str of 0. So get s P. Get s P. Then P plus plus. So enter /n, enter str of %d, comma I. So this is how we are going to accept using pointer. Then that pointer is being incremented to the next location like that. So let us execute. Let us print those characters again back. So printf /n, entered strings are printf /n %s. Here we are going to use %s, comma star p plus plus. Before this, we need to again assign p is equal to str of 0. Is it str or str1? Yeah, str. Is a two-dimensional array. We are assigning the first dimension to p. Then we are accepting the values. We are printing the values. Execute. Let us execute the program and see whether we are getting the output or not. Is there any error? Two strings. Check. Something went wrong. Has stopped. So this is the first time we have written a program and dev has hanged. Close the program. Let us check the program. Where is the bug in this one? Where is the bug? Enter how many strings, % size. percent size is correct. Just let me check. That's a long day. Test get percentage D. So here we can use get SP. Get SP is not accepting. Why? Because the flush is not there. So F flush brackets stdin, and pointer is moving. Get S of P. Get S of P. S of star P. Get S of P or star P. Star P. Execute, compile and run. Stdin. Execute, compile and run. How many strings to is coming out directly? Okay, let us, instead of using getters, let us use scanf. Percentage yes. Let's check whether this is working, then we'll improvise the program. Percentage yes, comma, ampersand, no ampersand, str of I. So no P++ as of now. Check whether this is working or not. Compile and run. Two strings. Yeah, it is stopping now. Hi, hello. The strings are jumping out. So percent won't be there. I think so. P. Star P, P++. Execute, compile and run. Two inputs. Hi, hello. Not getting. Just a second. If you write here str of y, it will work. But we need pointers. Execute, compile and run. Two strings. Hi, hello. Without pointers, it is working fine. So with pointers, P is equal to str of 0 is not working. Why? P is equal to str of 0. We write here star P and P++ has to work. Execute, compile and run. To hello, no, it is not working, it is stopping execution. Can anyone identify what is the bug here? Just to check 1 second. Yeah.
One little sharp.
11139, please mute yourself. actually done here. These are their pointers. Pointers has to one. Yeah, somebody sent a message. Sir, before second for loop, once put p is equal to str. P is equal to str is going to work out. So p is equal to str. Okay. But p is equal to str is going to work out. Okay, let us see. Execute, compile and run. Enter how many strings? 2 strings. Hi. Hello. No. Stop it. Pointers. Pointers incompatible type. str of keep like this. No. It won't work like this. I print like this instead of star p, is it printing str of just check whether it is storing or not. Str of 5, whether it is printing here. Execute, compile and run. Problem with accepting or displaying. Hello. Yeah. So it is accepting without an issue because we have to use malloc. Any suggestions from your end?
Only P.
Yeah. By using malloc, we can do this, but without using malloc, it is not coming. That's what I'm thinking about. Okay, not an issue. Somebody send a chat. Sir, we don't know anything more than you, sir. Come on, man. Now the world is moving faster than faculty. Students are more better than faculty nowadays. It's a competitive world, you know. Okay, not an issue. I'll explain, sir. In line 7, p is equal to str of 0, 0. Already I tried, man. So in line 7 is equal to str of 0, 0, or here p is equal to str of 0, 0, same, because we are using here star p. Star p is not working, that's no problem. Using malloc, it is going to work anyhow, dynamic memory allocation. But nothing to worry, I'll explain this in the next class. Okay. In the next class, I'll explain this concept. Let us move forward, otherwise our time will not be sufficient. So pointers to string is pending. Parameter techniques, call by value and call by reference. Let us see that now. So passing parameter techniques, call by value and call by. So parameter techniques, call by value and call by reference. So the next one is okay. So I'm going to work now. So parameter techniques, call by value and call by reference. Call by value means, for example, I'm having two numbers, integer a comma b. Now what we want to do is we want to print the numbers first, then we want to swap the numbers. Okay. So integer a comma b, then we are having a function called as swap. Swap, say a comma b. We are having a function which is going to swap these two numbers. Then we are going to printf /n a is equal to %d comma b is equal to %d, and this is in main, then comma a comma b. So what we are doing here, first of all, we are having two values, printf, enter two values, /n values, then scanf %d comma ampersand a comma ampersand b. So here we are accepting two values, then we are calling a function called as swap a comma b, then we are printing what is a value, what is b value, that's it. So this is end of the main program. Now we are going to write the code for swap a comma b. So what we are going to do is we are going to write void swap a comma b. So what we need to do is we need to swap a comma b. How to swap? So here we can take one more variable, integer c. C is equal to a is equal to b is equal to c. This is how you are going to swap the values. Okay. Swap means interchanging the values. A value must be there in b value must be there in the a. It's called as swapping, interchanging the values. Say a value is 10 and b value is 20. By the end of the program, a value must be 20, b value must be 10. Okay. So what we are going to do here is, here we are having separate memory. Just a second. Yeah, we are having a separate memory for main, a separate memory for swap function. Okay. So what happens here? Just a second. Here integer, we haven't written integer a comma integer b. So here in this memory location, a is a different one. So we are having a different memory location for a different memory location for b. Here we have a different memory location for a different memory location for b. So what we are going to do is we are going to give a name for this one a, and this one is called as a b, and we have the addresses, say 100 and the address is 200, for example. So a value is entered here, say the value is 10 here and the value entered is 20. Now here you are passing the values using call by value. So this a comma b is called as call by value. Okay, we are passing the value. So here in the a we received something called as 10, and in b we received the value 20 because we are passing 10 inside a. We are passing value 10 inside a. Yeah, here inside a we are passing a, and in the value of b is passed to b. So that's why we got the value 10 in this box and value 20 in this box, and the name of these boxes are a and b. So I hope you understood that the memory allocated for main is different. The memory allocated for swap function is different. Now what we are doing, we are interchanging. C is equal to a means we are having one more variable called as c. So let us draw one more box here. And the name of this box is C, for example. So what we are writing here first, C is equal to A means this value of A will be copied into C. C is having value 10. Then next line, we are saying A equal to B. The next line we are saying A is equal to B. B value must be copied into A. So B value will be copied into here. So it will be something like 29. So 10 is lost. The value of 10 is lost. Then in the next line, what we are saying B is equal to C. Whatever the value of C is there, copy it into B. So here now the value of C will become 10 and the value of B is lost. So by these 3 lines of code, A was 10, now it is 20. A was 10, now it is 20. B was 20, it is 10. But by the time the cursor comes out of this flower bracket, this memory is deleted. So what happens? This particular memory will be erased. So by the time the cursor comes here, this particular place, this memory will be deleted. Is that clear? Now, after this swap line is going to call this function. So after this swap line is completed, when it executes printf main, what will be the value that is printed? That is 10 and 20. So the values are not getting swapped. Even though you are trying to swap inside the function called as swap, the values are not reflected in main. The values are not reflected in main. Is this clear? So let us execute this code. Execute, compile and run. So enter two values 10 and 20. So the main is having same 10 and 20. Let us print the values inside the function. So let us copy the code. Printf in swap A value, B value. Let us print and see what is the result. Are they swapping? Excuse me. So enter two values 10 and 20. Now see here in swap, the values have been changed to 20, 10, and inside the main, they are 10 and 20 only. Why? Because this memory is deallocated after executing. So the memory allocated here will be destroyed. Is this program clear? Now let me copy and paste this program. This program is called as call by value. It's not call by reference, it is call by value. We are making a function call with the value. So let us get back to WhatsApp. F1. Swap. Okay, this is call by value. Now, whatever the modification we do here must be reflected back in this function is called as call by reference. So the next type is call by reference. Just see the difference between call by value and call by reference. So here what we are making a function call with the variable value. So instead of value, we are going to pass address %A, %B. So because we are passing addresses, they are references. So here it must be a pointer variable, integer star A, integer star B. Or you can write PQ if you are getting a doubt. So we are making a P, we are making a Q. Okay. And here we are using the third variable. A good programmer is the one who is not going to use the third variable. So let us remove this concept. And how to write the code? We can write A is equal to A plus B. Then B is equal to A minus B. Then A is equal to B is equal to A minus B. Chat. Sir, this topic is little bit confusing. Don't worry, don't get confused. I'll explain again. Don't worry at all. So this is another way of performing A is equal to A plus B will be having the total value. For example, A value is 10 and B value is 20. What is 10 plus 20? Now A will be holding value 30. A will be having value 30 by this line, because A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20, for example, then A value will be holding 30. Next line, what is A value now? A value is 30 now. A value is 30 as per the previous line. Then B value is 20. So A value will become 30 minus 20. So A value will become, this is not A minus B, this is B, this one is A. So A is equal, B is equal to A minus B, 30 minus 20. So B value will be holding now 10. B value will be holding now 10. In the next line, A value is 30, B value is 10. Now 30 minus 10, A value will be holding 20. So initially A value was 10, B value was 20. Now B value is 10 and A value is 20. Okay, this is how we can swap the values. Is this clear? This has nothing to do with pointers. Is this clear? So I'm going to execute this program without pointers. Let us stick to the previous one. Let us remove ampersand, no call by value now. So this is same program without using pointers. Okay, don't get confused. I'll change the program later. What happened? Yeah, I will change P and Q and B. Execute the program, compile and run. So 20 and 30. So in swap function, 30 and 20 values have been swapped. In main, values didn't got swapped. Okay, the data, the memory of main is different, the memory of swap is different. So like this, we can avoid the third variable. So call by value without using third variable. Let me copy and paste this program for you. Now let us get back to the program. Now see, the modification, whatever we do here is not reflecting in main. So we want the modification to be reflected. Okay, whatever the modification you do in swap must be implemented in function. So what you're going to do here is you are going to call with the address. So swap A will become ampersand A. Address of A, you're passing address of B. So inside the memory, you are making a function call. Let me draw the main memory for you. This is the main memory, for example. In this, we are having two memory locations. So the first memory location is A, the second memory location is B, and these memory locations are named as A and B, and they have addresses. Say 100 is the address and the value 200 is the address, and say they are having value 10 and 20. So what you are making here, you are making call swap ampersand A comma ampersand B. So what you are calling swap ampersand A means you are passing 100 comma 200. You are passing the addresses. Swap 100 comma 200. Yes. Now this is inside the main memory. So now let us go to the swap function. The swap function is another memory location. Just a second. Swap is another memory location. Now here we have two variables because we are getting addresses. Whenever you get an address, it must be taken by a pointer. So here you are going to write star A star B. So here we are having memory locations, two memory locations. The name of first memory location is A. Just try to concentrate, don't worry at all, star A. And the next memory location is asterisk B. And what the value it has the value 100. And this memory location is having the value 200. So what is this? This is nothing but a pointer. It is a pointer. So 100 is pointing to A and 200 is pointing to B. Now, whatever the modification you do using 100 will be reflected in 10. Whatever the modification you do using 200, the value will be reflected in the place of 20. Okay, because we are dealing with addresses. A is holding the address of A. So it is holding the address of a variable whose memory is allocated in main memory. And B is holding the address 200. So it is capable of modifying this location. So using 100, if you modify anything, that will be reflected here. And using 200, if you modify anything, it will be reflected here. So in other words, let me comment this code. Let me comment this code and let us write star A is equal to 5000 semicolon, star B is equal to say 6000. Now what is going to happen if you write star A value at address? Now this address is 100, go to this 100, change this 10 to 5000. Are you getting me? So this 10 will be overwritten with these two statements, that is assignment statement. So here what is the value you can see? Here the new value which you can see is 5000. And here the new value that you can see is 6000. And here the 20 value will be lost. Can you see the difference now? Star A means value at address. Change the value at address to 5000. It is going to execute. Let us execute and see this program for your understanding. Execute, compile and run. So we got two values, that is value 10 and value 20. Now see, in main, A value is 5000, B value is 6000. Can you see this? 10 has replaced with 5000. 10 has replaced with 5000. That is 5000. 20 has been replaced with 6000 because we are holding the addresses. Is this clear? So now what we are doing is we are removing this code and we are converting this normal code into pointers code. Now wherever A is there, keep a star A. Wherever A is there, keep a star. Asterisk. Value at address. We are changing the values, or we are swapping in this memory location, not over here. Here we are having only addresses. So after this class, I'll be sharing the video. Watch this video again till you understand this concept. In a single instance, you may not understand it. Okay. So this function is having only the code related to swapping. So execute, compile and run. So enter two values, value 10, value 20. So in main, now A value is changed to 20, B value is changed to 10. So let us write one more line before swapping and after swapping. Same code, nothing changed. In main, before swapping, in main, after swapping. Okay. Now let us execute the program again, compile and run. 10 and 20. So in main, before swapping, A value is 10, B value is 20. In main, after swapping, A value is 20 and B value is 10. So the values have been swapped. So this concept is called as call by reference. Is this clear? If it is not clear, just watch this video again and again till you get understood. Otherwise, you can ask this program in next class. Okay. So now let us stop the class, then let us make breakout rooms. So today what you are going to do is you are going to do these programs. What is the first program? So the first program, yeah, print the size of all types of pointers. That is the first one. Second one, let us check the syllabus, control save. So we have finished this one also now. Parameter passing. Over. The leftover is a dangling pointer and pointer to strings that we are going to see in our next lab. So let us go to course assignment, write a Fibonacci series, length of a string, one string to another. Write a program to find sum of, write a C program to print reverse of a given 1D array. Whether this one is over in the last class? Yes, I think so. Write a C program to print reverse of a given 1D array is over. Write a C program to transpose an array, passing an argument to function. Try this one, transpose. What is transpose? Can anyone tell me? If suppose the data which we are having is, say we are having a array, so the values are 1, 2, 3, then oh, what happened? Control Z. Then 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, 9. Suppose we are having this particular array. What is the transpose of this array? Can anyone tell me?
Changing rows into columns.
Changing rows into columns. So tell me the answer for this one. So 1,
1,
4,
4,
7, very good.
2, 5, 8.
2, 5, 8.
2, 5, 8. Now you have to
9.
take, very good. 3, 6, and 9. Try this program using pointers. Take a 2-dimensional array and try. If you don't get in the next class, I'll explain. Nothing wrong. Okay. Second one, then that's it. In this time, you try both of these programs. I'll copy paste in group. So these are the two programs that you have to try. Now let us see. Yeah, somebody is sending a message. Chat. Okay. So now let us stop recording.